Can you guess what we're making today? You see my ingredients here? I have an avocado, cilantro, garlic, a lime, and a tomato. A jalapeno, and an onion. We are going to be making guacamole. So I don't know if this is regular traditional guacamole, but I love it. This is the way we make it. So I thought I will make it for you today. So the first thing I have, the most important thing, is an avocado. A lot of times people will use 2 avocados. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it lengthwise, and just kind of roll it around the knife, keeping it on the ground, or not on the ground, on the cutting board, so that I don't cut my hand. Twist and open. You can see it's gorgeous. I hit the lottery on this one. And then I usually cut that quarter so that I can just peel it like this. When you peel it like this, you see this dark green? This is where our nutrition is. Most of the nutrition is what holds the peel to the flesh, so we want that. I could use a spoon, but a lot of times when I use a spoon, I miss that. This came off just perfect. I don't know if it will on all of them, but we'll see. All right. So, avocados get a bad rap because they are fat, but they are a plant fat, which is actually a healthier fat. Our body will use it much better than like a saturated fat. So, you see what I did? I just put the knife gently in the pit, twisted a little bit, and it came right out like a bouncy ball. So, when I cut that, cannot believe how perfect this avocado looks. I was afraid it would be overripe. Okay, so get this part off as well. And they're surprisingly low in calories, even though they are high in fat for their quantity of fat, and very high in fiber. So don't be afraid to eat avocados. There, now I'm just going to cut it into strips. Now I'm just going to cut it in kind of smaller pieces. A lot of people will mash it. I like it kind of chunky, but you can always get like a potato masher or a fork and a spoon like they do in the restaurants and mash it up if you want to do it that way. I'm just going to cut it into smaller cubes because I like it chunky. I'm only using 1 avocado, but you could use 2. But the fiber helps to fill you up, and the fat gives you this mouth feel that makes you feel like you're eating something that you shouldn't be eating. It's just perfect, very nutritious. Get all of that in there. All right. Next, I'm going to go ahead and press my garlic. I have 1 large garlic clove here. If you're not a fan of raw garlic, you could always leave it out or maybe put a little bit of garlic powder in instead. I have the juice of 1 lime. This lime's kind of small. Maybe better to have 2. Let's see how juicy it is. The vitamin C in the lime will keep our avocado from turning brown. Vitamin C is an antioxidant. And so when it turns brown, it's oxidizing. The vitamin C keeps that from happening. And so we want to put the lime juice on all of our avocado. Perfect. Now I also have a jalapeno. If you don't like spicy things, leave it out. I've made it plenty of times without the jalapeno. You could just put some spices in there. You could put some cumin in there to give it some flavor. But it's actually really good without even adding spices or the jalapeno. I just like a little heat. And sometimes this way I can get all of it, right? Somebody else doesn't want the heat. Just kidding. Everybody here likes the guacamole. All right, so I'm cutting it into really small strips. I don't know if you can see this on the camera. I didn't put anything under my cutting board, so it's kind of sliding around on me. That's not safe. I could always put a wet towel underneath, and that would keep it from sliding. Okay, can you see how thin I cut it? Now I have to be really careful to wash my hands really good before I touch my face or anything, right? It's the oil and the peppers that's so spicy. Did I even show you how I cut it? So I cut down and around so that all the seeds stayed intact. Most of the heat is in the seeds, and I didn't want the seeds in there. So jalapenos are high in capsaicin, which is very good for your blood pressure, stabilizing the blood pressure. Garlic is full of all sorts of wonderful things. It's an antiseptic, antifungal, antibacterial, and we're going to be eating it raw. If you don't like garlic, leave it out. I don't put salt in mine, but you could put some salt in there. If you're leaving out the garlic and the jalapeno, then you probably do want to put a little bit of salt in there. All right, so I just sliced it thin, and now I'm just going back and forth in what I call my rock and roll. Back and forth. All right, try to scrape with the back of the knife, not the blade of the knife. We don't want to dull the blade. All right, and then I have some onion here. I only want a quarter of the onion. I already cut a lot of it. Let me cut just a quarter. And then I'm going to cut it really thinly. One way. Do you see how I'm not going all the way to the end? Can you see that? So it still all stays together. I could fan it out if I wanted to. It's still stuck together on the bottom. I'm going to turn it the other way and do the same thing again, keeping my fingers out of the way. And now I'm going to stand it up and cut it. That will give me some small pieces. It's always dangerous to cut onions on video. Onions do usually make me cry. So let's see. I don't want too many onions since I only have one avocado. I'm probably only going to do about half of that. So maybe closer to an eighth of an onion. All right. Then I have my tomato. You can see it's not very red. It's not really the right time of year to be buying fresh tomatoes. Ooh, here comes the waterworks. The onion's getting to me. Tomatoes have phytonutrients in them as well. I usually think of lycopene in tomatoes, which is good for prostate health. You actually get a better source of lycopene is cooked tomatoes. It's more easily absorbed when it is cooked. But there is some vitamin C in here and other vitamins and fiber. Lots of water. It's a very low calorie fruit here. All right, my last one. I always put it cut side down just so my knife doesn't slide on that skin. Alright, there we go. And then last is my cilantro. Ooh, my eyes are burning. So it's okay to have some of the stems. I'm going to pull some of the leaves off. Cilantro is very high in minerals. Very good for you. I know people either love it or hate it. My taste buds have changed because I used to think it just tasted like dishwater. Not that I was used to drinking dishwater. And now I really like it. But that's something else you could leave out. You could just do avocado, onion, and tomato if you wanted to, with the lime juice. I think it definitely needs the lime. Alright, so now I'm just going to kind of stack that pile of leaves up and run